Are you sure you're reading for the right reasons? Hello and welcome back to Bookish, and welcome to a video which I'm going to ramble about an idea I've been kicking around in my head for a video and to talk about here on BookTube for a while, and that is, why we read. Why we think reading is important, why we think reading is valuable, what we get from reading, what is our purpose in sitting down to read, what's it all about, why are we here on BookTube, why do we love books so much. And I've broken this down into 5 E words. Engagement, enlightenment, edification, ennoblement, and entertainment. That those are the 5 E words I think that describe the reason that people read. So I just kind of wanted to go through each one of these really quickly. And as we go through, and as I'm going through them, I'm thinking about the value judgments I make regarding each of these words and the reasons why I read and the reasons why other people read. I think it's important to kind of engage in our own evaluative assessment of reading and different words and different reasons for reading and how we think about reading and how we think about others reading, because I think that's actually part of the process of moving beyond some of our own prejudices related to reading. So the first E word that I think describes the reason why people read is engagement. And for me, engagement is the broadest of all of these. That people might read to engage in all kinds of things. You might read simply to engage in the BookTube community because you like the aesthetic, you like being considered a reader, you want to engage in that process and in that world. You might engage because you want to read innovative fiction, you want to be up on the latest ideas, you want to read the books that are being nominated for prizes. You might read for engagement to know more about politics, to develop your own political ideas, to understand what's going on in the political world, in the art world, in the music world, in the gaming world, whatever it is. But you want to engage in something, and so you read as a form of engaging in that thing. I think, that I definitely read to engage in, sometimes in new books, in new authors. I read to engage in ideas that I'm not familiar with. I read to engage in new and innovative literature from time to time. Sometimes I read to engage in genres that I don't read very often, but engagement is definitely, I think, a factor in my reading. The second E word that I think explains why people read is enlightenment. I think this is actually one of the simplest to kind of explain, and that is we read to learn things. We read to learn about lives that we don't live. We read to learn about ideas and thoughts. We read to learn about events that have taken place. We read to learn about specific people. This isn't just nonfiction reading, and I think a lot of people think that, or have a tendency to think about enlightenment or education as a reason for reading nonfiction. But the truth of the matter is, I think we learn a tremendous amount about the past, about the world, about others, about other cultures through reading fiction as well as nonfiction. And I think that's kind of an important part of reading. And certainly, as a former educator and someone who does read nonfiction and reads fiction and learns from fiction, I think that this is a part of the reason why I read. The third E word that I have for reading is edification, and that is probably one of the ones that seems the squishiest, and I mean that to mean hardest to define and perhaps a little bit uncomfortable to think about. But I think a lot of people read, and I think myself included, because I believe that reading makes me a better person. It makes me more compassionate, it makes me more understanding, it makes me think more globally, and I mean that in I think both senses of the word. It makes me think more broadly. It also makes me think about things outside my own experience, outside my own country, my own nation, my race, my gender identity, whatever it is. I think that I do believe that reading makes me a better person in those ways. Now, I know a lot of people kind of feel like this is a cringy idea to associate with reading, but I definitely think that there's a possibility that takes place. The fourth E word I have for the reason why people reading is ennoblement. Ennoblement is a word that has several different definitions, and I'm going to use it, I think, in its most strict way. And that is that some people read to get ahead. We read to get ahead in our career. We read to get ahead and develop skills. We read to be, because we believe reading will make us smarter, and that smarter will make us advance We believe that that reading will lead to bigger returns in terms of money, in terms of promotions, in terms of our job, in terms of career, in terms of our social status, that we read for this idea of ennoblement, to kind of rise up through the ranks, as it were, to be acknowledged as someone who is a reader and whose success is tied to reading. I think ennoblement is one of those. This is the one I have the hardest time applying to myself, and I do think that there's, it's there in a sense that I do sometimes feel competitive in the sense that, I want people to think that what I think about books matters, and to a certain extent I think the more I read, the better I get at expressing that. So I do think there's an element of that there as well. And the final E is entertainment. And I want to leave entertainment till the end, because I think entertainment reading and the reading for entertainment is the form of reading that we have a tendency to see disparaged the most often. Oftentimes we associate entertainment reading with genre reading, genre fiction reading, which I don't think is fair at all. I know I read a lot of literary fiction because I enjoy it. It's entertaining to me. I also find a lot of genre fiction to be enjoyable and entertaining. Sometimes that surprises me. And I know a lot of times people will think, well, this is kind of the vapid, vacuous reading you do just to pass the time, just to amuse yourself, as though that's not good enough. And I think that is an idea that we really need to move away from, that your reading should be entertaining. Now, it can be entertaining and be enlightening. It can be entertaining and be engage you in things. It could be entertaining and enlighten you. I suppose it can be even entertaining and help you get ahead and be ennobling. But entertainment is a perfectly valid reason to read in and of itself. And this is kind of why I wanted to caution about applying valuative ideas to these words. And I've struggled, not to apply valuative ideas to these words, particularly with ennoblement myself. And I do think that, many of us read for, all these different reasons. And even if we don't consciously read for these different reasons, we probably get some of those things out of them whether we want to or not. I don't think any work of fiction necessarily is immune from teaching you something, from making you more broad-minded, from helping you engage with communities and groups of people you don't already engage in. So I do think reading for entertainment is perfectly valid, and it probably leads to all these others, as I think all the others, again, perhaps with the exception of ennoblement, and maybe somebody will argue with me and talking about ennoblement in the comments section. But with the exception of ennoblement, I think all of them kind of are linked together and linked to entertainment. It's not a matter of reading strictly for one thing or another, but reading, or maybe our focus for our reading being differently. Increasingly as I get older, I kind of increasingly refuse to read books that I don't find entertaining. That if I pick up a book and I don't find it entertaining, that I probably won't finish it, or maybe I'll finish it, but I won't read a book by that author again, because I want, on some level, to find the work itself enjoyable. And I think entertainment and enjoyable are connected together. Anyway, there you go. There's my relatively vague discussion of the 5 E's of reading, the reasons why people read. If you have, one you emphasize more than the other. I think that for me, I probably emphasize enlightenment above the others that I read to learn. That's one of the things I do. So, whichever one you think you emphasize the most, please let me know. And again, knowing that emphasis on one doesn't preclude reading for the other reasons. Anyway, I'll wrap this up now, this ramble up now. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching.